It all started when Karen, my notorious HOA neighbor, couldn't take no for an answer. For months, she had been pushing the boundaries of my privacy, constantly walking onto my property without permission, whether it was to complain about my lawn or to check on my fence. The nerve of her to think she could just waltz onto my land whenever she pleased was something I could no longer tolerate. One afternoon, after Karen had once again crossed the line, I had enough. I had politely asked her multiple times to respect my space, but she seemed to think that my property was just an extension of her own. I needed to find a way to teach her a lesson, something that would get her attention without escalating things too far. That's when the idea came to me. It was a bit outrageous, but at that moment, I felt like it was the perfect solution. I would set up a series of color powder mines along the edge of my property. They wouldn't hurt anyone, but they would explode in a bright, vibrant mess of color when triggered, guaranteeing that Karen would never trespass again without thinking twice. I spent the next week researching how to make safe, non-harmful color powder mines. I found a few tutorials online and ordered the supplies. Using some old pressure-sensitive switches, I rigged the setup so that if someone stepped in a specific spot, a burst of colored powder would go off, marking them in a way that would be impossible to ignore. The best part? It would be utterly impossible to remove the stains from clothing or skin for hours. The next time Karen decided to walk onto my property uninvited, she set off one of the mines. A massive cloud of bright pink powder exploded around her, covering her head to toe in the shocking, powdery mess. She screamed in shock and confusion, spinning around to figure out what had just happened. It didn't take her long to figure out she was the victim of a prank, but it was no ordinary prank. The powder was everywhere, sticking to her clothes, her hair, and even her skin. She marched up to my door, absolutely livid. "What did you do?" she shouted, completely drenched in neon pink. I opened the door slowly, wearing the calmest expression I could muster. "I told you to stop trespassing," I said simply. "Seems like you didn't listen. Maybe this will make you think twice." The next morning, Karen's husband showed up at my door with a laundry list of complaints, but it was clear that Karen had learned her lesson. She never set foot on my property again, and from that day on, I made sure to keep the mines active just in case she needed another reminder. I didn't want to escalate things beyond reason, but sometimes people need to feel the consequences of their actions in a way that's unforgettable. The color powder mines worked wonders. Karen got the message, and I got to keep my property and my peace intact.